Blake? What are you doing?
What? We're just playing Mortal Kombat.
But don't you know what day it is, Blake?
Of course I know, it's just Tuesday.
No, it's Wednesday.
Ah! Alright, we gotta go!
Hello movie fans and welcome to the season finale of Be Kind and Rewind, where we rank all of your favorite movie franchises. I'm Owen Miles.
And I'm Blake Blodgett, and today we'll be talking about the Jurassic Park franchise, and yes, including the Jurassic World movies.
That's right, Blake. This was actually the franchise you picked for us to do today.
Yes, the franchise holds a very special place in my heart, so honestly, I say let's not waste any time and get to the best movie of all time, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park was released in 1993 and quickly became one of the biggest movies of all time.
It was based on the novel written by Michael Crichton in 1990 and was directed by Steven Spielberg, one of the most successful and popular directors of all time.
It also, for better or for worse, revolutionized the use of CGI effects in movies with how they made the dinosaurs truly come to life. So,
oh man, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I've been giddy waiting to do this episode. I've been so excited.
Yeah.
This was my, like you said, this was my pick. You picked Rocky 2 weeks ago, and
exactly.
God, I love Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I love Jurassic Park.
From the day I knew you, I knew you're a Jurassic Park
fan.
fan.
That was, yes,
yeah.
this was. We met in an acting class, and
Yep.
that was one of the first things I told you.
Yep.
Was that
your favorite movie's Jurassic Park, and here we are covering it on WTOP.
I mean, let's talk about what makes this movie amazing.
Yeah.
Everything. The acting, the
Exactly.
score, the dinosaurs. It's got dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. I mean, like the.
Or as Mr. DNA says, dinosaurs.
Yeah. And obviously, like the animatronics that you use for a lot of the dinosaurs in the movie is pretty awesome. I think that it's better than the CGI they use today. While that is pretty impressive.
Yeah. That's what's crazy is I look back and watch this one. The CGI still holds up really well and is genuinely better than some movies I see today, and that's kind of sad.
Aww.
Well, I just think it's sad because, like, how is it better in 1993 than in like 2024?
2024, yeah.
I mean, we can talk about some of the characters here. I mean, Ian Malcolm, Dr. Grant, Ellie Sattler, John Hammond. I mean, all would become important fixtures in the franchise.
And obviously Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm, probably my favorite character in the franchise.
He's up there. Him and Alan Grant are tied for me.
Even though Chris Pratt shows up later in this franchise, and he's one of my favorite actors of all time. So.
I do like me some Chris Pratt, not gonna lie. Ooh. But this movie's incredible. My mom will always deny that she let me watch it very young because it is kind of scary for a 5-year-old. But I've watched this movie. I
disagree with that.
I've watched this movie since I was 5. I've loved it ever since. And it's just stuck with me. It will always stick with me. It'll probably always be my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the most iconic movies of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Well. It's required viewing. It's one of those ones I feel like is required viewing.
Yeah,
for
just
people.
like very first film class you take. Here, Jurassic Park.
Literally, that's what they do. Literally.
That's what they should do anyway.
Yes, I agree.
So anyway,
all right. Let's rank it. It's pretty obvious, I think, where it's going to be for me. Ooh.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah. This wasn't even a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious for me that it was going to be number one.
Adventure 65 million years in the making.
I have that poster hanging in my room at home.
Yep. Unsurprisingly enough.
I'm very weird, as you all know.
Yeah.
Well, we got to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Be Kind and Rewind on WTOP 10.
Would you like to try snacks from faraway lands? Or snacks with bizarre flavors? How about snacks in new ways? Or snacks you've never tried before? You don't have to go far to find these snacks. They can all be found here at Snacks on West First Street.
Yeah, we're walking around campus, and what do we see? All these clubs are looking.
They looking for me.
There's hockey,
There's improv,
so much to see. So let's go try them out and see how they be. Come on and please watch.
Our embarrassments free.
Tune in to Amateurs on WTOP.
Happy Friday, Lakers, and another beautiful day here in Oswego, New York. I'm DJ Don Perone, and I'm happy that you're starting your weekend off right listening to WNYO 88.9 FM, the Laker Radio Network.
I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us. There's no room. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping. And I always knew it wasn't you. It wasn't you. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping. And I always knew it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
Welcome back to Be Kind and Rewind. Let's continue with The Lost World Jurassic Park.
In 1997, we got the sequel, well, as you just said, called The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Michael Crichton also wrote the book for this one to base off the script of this movie, but they used basically nothing from the book.
This film picks up a few years after the incident in Jurassic Park with Dr. Malcolm as he's recruited by John Hammond to go to Site B to get evidence of the dinosaurs existing so they can't be taken advantage of.
Yeah, so that's a thing to talk about. There's actually 2 islands of dinosaurs in this franchise.
Yes.
Isla Nublar, which is the site of the first one, and
Which is
3 of the
where-
other movies.
Yeah.
And then we have Isla Sorna, which is the site of 2 and 3. So
It's a very interesting revelation, and it kind of makes sense. Like, they bred the dinosaurs on this island
Yeah.
and then brought them
to the other
to the
island,
other
yeah.
island. Even though, I mean,
Which
it
would
doesn't
make
fully
sense.
make sense because they
Yeah.
they're hatching dinosaurs
Yeah.
in the first one, but it's fine. We can ignore it. This movie's just really fun.
Yeah,
I
so
think.
I know this probably has barely ever been asked, but which is the better island?
Which is the better
yeah.
island? I mean, Nublar has the better movies.
I mean, yeah, Nublar actually has the parks on it, but also Sorna has Spinosaurus, which is in the next movie. But yeah, anyway, for this movie,
You're right now.
we get a baby T-Rex.
Which is fun.
Yeah, I
Two
love
T-Rexes,
love me
actually.
some baby T-Rex, and
Don't say it like that.
as a pet. Anyway,
I want to. My
would
toxic
have
trait is that I think I can have a dinosaur.
me too. I would love to have a dinosaur as a pet. So yeah.
So yeah, we kind of talked about it already.
Yeah.
Dr. Malcolm gets like basically conned by John Hammond to going to Site B.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically to save his girlfriend, even though she doesn't really need to be saved.
Yeah, she just like voluntarily goes to this island full of dinosaurs, bunch
With
of
no fences and no
Exactly.
weapons. And just like, I'm just going to take some photos and
Yeah.
I'll be back.
It's just like I'm gonna get right up to these, like Triceratops. I think they were in the opening
Stegosaurus.
scene. Yeah. And so like.
And then we
Yeah.
have a second set of characters from InGen, which was the company that was owned by John Hammond, but got taken out from under him because of an incident in the beginning of the movie where a little girl got attacked
Yeah.
by dinosaurs.
Which I believe you said when we were watching it is actually the thing that kicks off the first book.
Yeah, it kicks off the first
Yeah.
book actually, which is an interesting.
It's interesting that it's in the second movie, but yeah.
Yeah, don't question it. It's just
Yeah, it's kind of just.
they
the-
barely followed the books.
Also, a T-Rex finds its way to San Diego.
And goes on a little bit of a rampage, that
Yeah.
some may say.
Yeah, and like.
It basically brings the issue of dinosaurs, because
Yeah.
people thought Malcolm was crazy, because InGen was very good at covering their tracks about the dinosaurs existing,
Yeah.
and so no one really knew that it existed. But
Yeah, and then
obviously,
And they
now
brought a
that they
T-Rex to
to
San Diego.
and it escapes, and obviously
Goes
eats
on.
people.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of ends with the idea of like, do these animals have rights? Which is something
Yeah.
that they get into a lot more in the franchise.
Yeah, a lot later in the series.
Yeah, they don't really
do.
cover it as much in the next movie that we'll talk about soon. But I do think it's an interesting idea of like, well, they're animals, but they're also not in a way.
Yeah, 'cause,
because
like,
they were made.
They were made by humans, but they are technically animals. Because like
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Let's
get
get
into
the
the
rankings up here.
ranking.
This
both
is
of
both
us-
our number 3,
Yes.
which is
Something has survived.
yes, it does.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of it's middle of the road for me in the franchise. I really
Yeah.
like it. I really liked it as a kid. Once again, my mom will deny letting me watch it
and
so young. But
the baby T-Rex definitely helps it out here.
yes, you love
Yeah.
some baby T-Rex.
Yeah, as a pet.
You
So-
can't have a T-Rex as a pet, Owen.
I wish.
hate to break it to you.
Anyway, in 2001, we got Jurassic Park 3, which gave us the return of Dr. Alan Grant and the site of the Lost World.
A few years after the San Diego incident, Alan is persuaded by a recently divorced couple to help find their missing son who disappeared on Isla Sorna. Dr. Grant, his student, and the couple must find the child and get off the island alive, but new challenges sit in their way.
Yeah, and this movie's something.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's
It's awful. It is awful.
yeah,
There's nothing else to say. I mean, we're gonna rant, obviously.
yeah. So
But
go on.
can I go on my little
Yeah.
your Halloween Ends rant that
Go
you
ahead,
did?
you deserve it.
Oh, this movie is so terrible. It starts off, the opening scene's not bad, but it also makes no sense. We have the missing child, who we later find out his name's Eric.
Yeah.
He was out paragliding with his stepdad near Isla Sorna to try and see some dinosaurs. The people on the boat get eaten. We never explain how they get eaten. What eats them.
something.
They just get offed by something. Just something. It's never explained. And so we get that, and then it immediately opens and makes it clear that Dr. Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant did not stay together. So you destroy half the victory of the original Jurassic Park. Because that movie ends with Alan Grant, he's like grown, he kind of likes kids now. That implies him and Sattler might have a kid and they'll stay together. But no, we gotta break them up. She's with a guy named Mark. He works at the State Department,
Yeah.
which is important later.
Yes,
But-
it is.
And then Grant at the beginning is like, no force on heaven or earth could get me on Site B. And then 2 minutes later, he's persuaded by money.
Yep. Good old-fashioned bribery.
Good old-fashioned bribery.
So yeah. Anyway,
It's totally not a topical topic these days.
yeah. So, yeah, let's go into some of the stuff that happens in the movie. Some of the stuff that happens after the whole reveal that Sattler and Alan Grant aren't together.
So they
Yeah.
go to.
I just
Alan thinks they're just gonna fly over Site B,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be like a sightseer.
I just
kinda.
like how this couple just assumed that Grant was on Isla Sorna.
Yeah, they're
it's
like,
just
oh,
like-
it's
just
you
like,
were
oh,
on
he
an
was a-
island with dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's just.
You were. It's
And
like,
even
there's-
though he said multiple times, I never went to that island.
Yes, he said.
Why did you
multiple
invite me?
And
Or
also,
not
like,
really invited.
I don't know how Grant believed they were actually rich, because they say things like, "Oh, we have tickets reserved for the first commercial flight to the moon." Like, you what?
I'm sorry. What?
And then when we get there, we see
Yeah.
we get a new dinosaur, the Spinosaurus, kills a T-Rex,
And
because, again,
eats some dude's cell phone.
eats.
That's
oh
an
my God,
iconic
this-
shot in the movie.
When Eric hears the cell phone and he thinks it's his dad. And then they turn around and see it's the Spinosaurus with the phone in its stomach, and they can somehow hear the phone through his stomach.
There's so many memes about that sound and the Spinosaurus standing there with the sound effect.
Yep.
Anyway, before he has an aneurysm, let's get on to this ranking.
Just get to it.
Yeah.
Just get to it.
So, it should be up there. I actually don't hate it. I think that it's one of those movies that, like, you love to watch it because of how bad it is.
You're wrong.
Same cannot be said for him. Yeah.
I don't say this often to you, but you're just wrong.
Yeah.
I think most people would disagree with
We
you.
don't even get any like cool like catchphrase or anything like the last two.
Yeah, it's just a
Just
guy.
Dude running
getting-
from pterodactyl.
Yeah, nothing cool. Just
All
stuff
right.
happens. Why not?
So, it would take another 14 years for us to get to the next installment in this franchise, but finally in 2015 we did with Jurassic World.
On the OG site of Jurassic Park, we get a full-blown theme park called Jurassic World, where nothing can possibly go wrong. That is until a brand new and highly intelligent dinosaur escapes containment and causes chaos across the park.
Will a new batch of characters be able to stop its rampage? Let's find out. So yeah, the biggest thing of this is, well, there's two big things. One, that they actually successfully made Jurassic Park and made it like a attraction. And then there's also them genetically creating new dinosaurs. And in this one, it's called the Indominus Rex.
Yes, that's one of the biggest parts of the movie is that they have created a brand new species of dinosaur and
it's
expected nothing to go wrong.
Yeah, this dinosaur is, like we said in the intro, highly intelligent. It can camouflage. It's part raptor, so it can get the raptors on its side.
It can also hide its heat signature, which is
absolutely crazy.
Yeah. But I think...
And it's fast.
This movie was very special to me, though, because I saw this like 4 times in theaters. I dragged everyone I knew to it. Like, I went with my mom, I went with my aunt, I went with my grandma.
Yeah.
Like, I went with everyone. And I think it's just part of the appeal of this movie is kind of, for a little bit at least, getting to see an opened park.
Exactly.
Because we didn't...
We never got to see that in the
original
original
trilogy. We saw, like, little
trilogy.
bits and pieces of the Jurassic Park in the original, but we didn't. Hammond makes it clear that it's not done.
Yeah.
So to see a fully operational theme park is like awesome.
Yeah.
And also,
it's like got restaurants in it and stuff like that. I would love to go to a hibachi restaurant with a bunch of raptors watching me and probably feed one of the raptors.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, maybe Owen Grady can do that. That's a good segue.
Oh,
He's the new character, him and Claire.
Yep. Owen Grady, played by the legendary Chris Pratt.
Who's not well liked these days by some people. I don't know why. I think it's just because he's in everything.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I like that Chris Pratt's in everything.
I appreciate it.
He's so awesome.
I agree. But
yeah,
he trains the raptors to like respond to commands.
Yeah, and that's another thing in this movie. There's this guy that wants to weaponize dinosaurs because they can now follow orders from humans. But like Grady makes sure that he knows that like it's based on like years of bonding with these dinosaurs. Like
he had to be around them since birth.
Yeah, and
they're not just gonna trust anyone.
get a very iconic raptor named Blue, who's got the blue stripe on the side of her face.
We'll see a lot more in this trilogy.
Yeah, and she is
awesome.
Yeah, and also Grady's favorite raptor by far.
Yes, and I mean, Claire's also an interesting character. She's like one of the people who kind of runs the park. She runs the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
Her nephews are there.
Yeah,
it's interesting to
she
see
has
her
like
evolve.
assistant just with her nephews all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then her assistant dies.
Yeah,
which is one of the worst deaths in this franchise.
Death by Mosasaurus and Pterodactyl.
But
so here's the rankings.
Number 2.
Look at this mad lad. I'd love to be that guy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You can't
so anyway,
not love that.
This is the 2 for us.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
Yeah.
I think just this movie's just it got the franchise back on track. They didn't really stay on track with the next 2,
Unfortunately, but
I think that's the biggest thing with this movie is it got the franchise back on track and actually like brought it back.
Yeah, and I do have to say, I've been to the Universal theme park in Orlando. The Velocicoaster, best ride there by far. Just had to point that out.
All right. Well, we got to take another quick break, but we'll be right back on Be Kind and Rewind.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
Roll it. Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
It's Al Roker.
Welcome back to Be Kind and Rewind. Let's finish up these prehistoric adventure and get back into the rankings.
In 2018, we have Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This takes place 3 years after the Jurassic World incident, and now the dinosaurs are in big trouble.
That's right. A massive volcanic eruption is threatening the dinosaurs with a second extinction. Owen, Claire, and the others must get the dinosaurs off the island, as well as uncover a new conspiracy involving a strange new addition to the franchise, a human clone. So
I think that's one of the biggest things in
Yeah.
the movie is we are revealed a human clone.
Yeah,
Maisie Lockwood.
one of a clone of Ben Lockwood's daughter.
Ben Lockwood, who we
Yeah.
learn was actually heavily involved in the making of Jurassic Park. He was
With
partners
John
with John
Hammond,
Hammond. And it's... I hate how much of a throwaway it is, like,
Yeah,
when it's revealed.
It's like the villain Eli is...
Who you can immediately tell is going to be a villain
Yeah,
the first time you meet him. It's like, this guy's not going to actually be a good guy.
Yeah, it's like you can just by looking at him, you can just see, oh, this guy's the bad guy.
Yeah, he just looks like a generic suited bad guy in every 80s movie, except this came out in 2018.
Yeah, literally 6 years ago, I think, if I'm doing math correctly.
I think you are.
So yeah, anyway, like when the reveal is that Maisie is not Ben Lockwood's actual granddaughter and instead a clone that he made after his daughter died.
Well, that's what they say in this one. We'll get to it in Dominion, but they
Yeah.
kind of reveal it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in Eli, before he actually kills Ben Lockwood, he's like, it was a horrific thing that you did. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's so weird. And that's the biggest thing I think I can say about this movie is it's weird. Like, it does kind of the same thing as Jurassic Park 3 and like...
I'm sorry. I got to point something out. There's a hallway in the basement of Lockwood Estate. This hallway in one scene
he will not get over
has
this. He will not
another
get over this.
This movie has another genetically engineered dinosaur, by the way, the Indoraptor. But in one scene, the Indoraptor is at the end of this hallway in a cage. In another scene, there's an elevator at the end of this hallway. It's the same hallway. I don't understand it at all.
I mean, that's a pretty bad continuity error. Like, normally you can ignore some, but, like, that's a pretty big one.
Like, I don't understand how that made it past into production.
And also,
Like,
that's the other thing. I think the Indoraptor is just a less interesting Indominus.
Yeah.
It's not as interesting of a monster,
Yeah.
I guess is the way to put it.
It's just like, it's just genetically engineered
Yeah.
dinosaur, pretty much. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't really, you don't really go into depth about it.
It just exists.
And yeah,
They do get the dinosaurs to the mainland. They bring them to
Lockwood Estate.
To Lockwood Estate and start selling them because that was Eli's plan.
Yeah,
Start
selling them to these rich bad guys, because of course.
Because you know, rich bad guys.
Yeah, they do rich bad guy stuff.
Do rich bad guys.
And yeah.
And then at the end, they all escape.
Yeah, at the end, because there was like a gas leak in the basement where they were all being held, and Maisie decides to let all the dinosaurs out
They're
instead
alive, like me.
Yeah. So yeah,
Alright.
that is it for that movie. Let's get to
Rank
it. And yeah, this is my last place.
This is 5. It's not. I don't hate it as much.
I
but
promise
it
it's
went way down in a rewatch.
I promise it's not just last place because of the hallway.
Even though that's the only thing you ranted about.
But yeah, there's a bunch of other issues I have with the movie, but
I think you should rant about other things, like just specifically being a Boston Red Sox fan. I think I think that's
Okay,
pretty.
we're going to stop this conversation now. All right, let's get on to the last
All
one.
right. 4 years later, in 2022, we got Jurassic World Dominion. After escaping Lockwood Estate, dinosaurs now live alongside humans.
A new company has brought most of these dinosaurs into a sanctuary, but their corrupt CEO has more sinister intentions, which involves not dinos, but giant locusts. Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Ian Malcolm all return to the franchise in this ending chapter to the trilogy. And yes, this is the last of this trilogy. I just found that out today, that the one coming out next year is not part of this story.
It's it's starting like its own new thing, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Just found that out this morning, but yeah.
Blew his mind, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into Dominion.
Yeah. So this movie, it kind of goes into like dinosaurs now living alongside humans, like
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but also it's
not enough.
A lot of it's also in the same location, which is like, what's the point of even going into that?
Oh, I will say they do travel a little bit.
Yeah.
But then when they get to the sanctuary, it's like, well, it's just dinosaurs in a forest again.
And a lot of the dinosaurs that show up are kind of just there to fill in gaps of dinosaurs we haven't seen in the franchise yet.
Like the Giganotosaurus, Therizinosaurus, like they're just kind of there.
Yeah, and the Quetzalcoatlus shows up at one point for like 2 seconds. That thing's
just to take a plane down.
Yeah, the thing's one of the most interesting creatures to ever live, and it shows up for 2 seconds.
It's it is what it is. You know?
Yeah,
but
and
I will say, I was very happy when they announced they were going to bring back all the legacy characters. As the little nerd that I am, I was very happy. But the way they get them all to not Lockwood Estate,
the
Sanctuary in
Biosyn
Italy,
Sanctuary,
is weird. Like, Owen and Claire are there to get Maisie because Maisie was kidnapped.
They kidnapped Maisie from their isolated house in the forest.
Yes. And then, but then the legacy characters, Malcolm was already there because he was working for Biosyn. He was like a speaker.
And then Grant and Sattler were both there because of these giant locusts that Biosyn released, even though the public doesn't know this, but they released it to, I guess, take over the food chain, I think they were trying to say in the movie.
To make even more money, like they were trying to take over the food chain. And it's an odd way to get all these characters together, but it worked well enough for me because you get the interactions you wanted to see, like seeing Alan Grant do like the Owen Grady, like trying to like control a raptor was super cool.
Oh yeah, speaking of raptors, Blue has a baby in this movie.
She reproduced without a partner. It was part of her. It was, I forget what animal they said. I think it was a tree frog.
Some kind of frog. Yeah.
It was in her genome, and it was she was able to just reproduce on her own.
Yeah.
So she has a little baby. It was really cute.
Yeah.
Name's Beta.
Name's Beta. Also has the little blue stripe on their face.
Another dinosaur that I want as a pet.
Yeah, me too. And like the last half hour or so is dedicated to saving Beta.
All right. So let's rank.
This one's my number 5 for me.
This went up to 4. It was 5, but it overtook Fallen Kingdom for me.
I thought this was going to be last place before we started, but now it wasn't. I actually kind of liked it on rewatch.
Yeah, same. I liked it a little bit
Still not
more.
enough to be more than 5.
Yeah, I just appreciated it more on a rewatch. I think it tried to do some cool things. It didn't succeed in everything, but I don't think you can really fault it for that.
But
at least it tried something.
Yeah, at least it tried. The only complaint I would have is more blue.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But I say let's get into the good old train wreck of the week.
The third train wreck of the week.
Let's see what it is. It is when the raptor in Jurassic Park 3 in a dream speaks.
Yeah.
You heard me right.
You thought it was going to be the cell phone.
No,
nope.
The raptor talks. Alan. Alan.
Oh God.
I mean, I will say that's somewhat creepy.
Yeah.
That is somewhat creepy. I must admit that would be creepy. Yeah. But I think.
So yeah, here is our final rankings. The top 3 are the same.
See everything, but I think we got to wrap it up. Unfortunately, I think we got to wrap it up.
So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for our first semester of Be Kind and Rewind.
Thank you all so much for tuning in, and shout out to our outstanding crew for helping us all semester long.
But don't worry, we will be back next semester to bring you all of your favorite movie content.
And remember, be kind.
And rewind.